So yes, I guess welcome to is it third episode.
Yeah. We look like we had ridiculous fucking nights.
We did. Well, I mean we had separate nights, but I had a fucking pretty crazy night.
Mm-hmm.
You know the worst thing about like when you have crazy nights, at least for me, is I need someone to take my phone away from me. Because my God, am I a social media thug?
Yeah?
Yes, I am so bold. I will fuck. Yeah, I hit up girls randomly, but one time it actually worked.
Publicly or like in text?
No, like privately. I'd be DMing this shit out of mad chicks.
So you're a drunk texter?
Yes.
I'm a drunk texter.
I'm a notorious drunk texter.
Yeah. It's like my addiction is almost drunk texting. So every couple months I have a relapse. Like every time I drink, I wake up, I have to check every fucking social media I have, every text, and it's like, and it's been like I used to be really bad at it when I was like 25.
Oh, that was when I was the at my peak.
Yeah.
That was my peak.
Yeah.
I was so bad at it.
I've been better.
Oh man.
But then what I do is that I go on social media and be like, no drunk text last night. Yes. And whatever girl likes that, I'll just hit them up.
Well, that's the way to do it. That's the way, hey baby. Nah, man, it was bad. Like, I hit up this girl who I knew I should not have hit up, but I hit her up on some like creepy, like, hey man, I see you're fucking traveling and doing stuff. Wanna fuck? Like that was essentially the. She was like, I guess she knew where I was going. She was like very coyly like shooed me away.
Yeah. But I got invited to a party last night. I didn't go. You know, I like the girl who invited me is cool, but I knew that these people that I used to know would be there, and I did not want to deal with their shit. Like they're my old activist friends that are like incredibly judgmental. They're like the stereotypical feminazi type, and I used to not even think that existed until I met these fucks. So I was just like
feminazis.
Yeah. Well, it's one, and then she infected the group with her neurosis. Because she would just talk too fucking much. She'd never be able to make a decision. She'd always break down how everybody's. Basically, these are people that want to fight for the working man, working woman, and have no idea how we talk, and are offended by the way we talk, and want to break it down. And it's just like I had my own. I was chilling with this woman who believes in all this shit and is a social worker herself, and we met at the bar. And we were just having like the most politically incorrect conversation. And I know this chick would have my back if like some shit were to happen, if the system were to fall on me or whatever. And I'm just like, why the fuck? Like, these are the kinds of people that my old crew was trying to fight for.
Yeah.
And like, if we were having this conversation with them, like they would get offended at our conversation.
Well, the thing is, I feel like there is a nobility in trying to change the way. Like, because words are powerful, right? So, like, I see the purpose of it and the nobility of it, but, like, I think people get carried away with it, you know, with the political correctness of it. Because there's, like, sometimes there's just, like, for instance, like, one word that is, like, retard, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not, like, a politically correct word, and it's like all special needs and all this stuff and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like sometimes I'm like, yo, like this person has retardation, because I think of it in Spanish like there's a retraso, you know, backwards. So.
Well, the people that I know that have been the most oppressed, at the most bottom of the social order, are the ones that are the least politically correct, and they're the toughest ones. Like they don't have fucking masters in this or that. They're not like pursuing career. You know, they're not at the front lines of every movement, but they should be. You know, so for the people that.
But they get put off by people like that who are constantly correcting them and telling them, because there was a study, I can't remember who did the study, but there was a study. It's actually a fairly recent study where they found that people who curse a lot and who are say for like a lot of like politically incorrect things. And by politically incorrect, I don't mean like, hey, nigger, or shit like that. I mean like, you know, sometimes you say something that may not be seen politically correct, whatever. That they tend to be more honest, more forthcoming. Right. Because like think about when you're being PC, you're like, that's like self-censorship. You're kind of training yourself to be a fucking liar. And like I can't talk to people like that. I'm like, God, you're not a person to me.
Yeah. And the worst is when they try and impose it on you. That's
It's
one thing. If you want to have self-discipline, that's fine. But
I did this show in fucking East New York in Brooklyn, right, which is like a fucking really tough neighborhood, and so I'm doing the show. I'm like, the show was weird. It was outside. One of the best shows I've ever done. I think I did like 20 or 30 minutes. I don't remember. So I'm doing these jokes, whatever, and I had this joke about kids being bullied, and like, I'm not gonna go into the whole joke, but essentially the joke was just like, how this anti-bullying thing is just like a whole, like, it seems to me like a plot to make men, to turn men into, cowards. Like, there's no more warriors. Everyone wants to text and tweet. No one wants to go out and do some shit because everyone's like a bully. I have to tell someone or some shit like that. I'm like, but what happens when there's no one, to tell to? Like, when you're a grown up and your boss tells you to work longer hours, were you gonna tell your mom or some shit? So I was like, how about you try telling your kid to not be a pussy? You know what I mean? That was the whole joke. I mean, obviously I said it funnier than that, but that was essentially the whole premise. Anyway, after I finished my set, people really liked it. They were coming up to me, asking me questions. It was great. And then this fucking one dude, some hipster looking motherfucker, comes up to me.
A hipster looking dude went to a comedy show in East New York.
Yes.
That's how you know the city's changed.
So he comes up to me. He's like, so since you like victim blaming, and as soon as he said that, I already tuned him out. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna say to me right now, but I'm sure I'm not gonna like it. Like, don't be a pussy. You know what I mean? Like, victim blaming. Fuck that guy.
I brought my ex, who's an amazing woman and a true feminist, a strong woman, to this group of friends that I assume went to this party last night that I didn't go to. And like, it was after some like the shit hit the fan. Like, it wasn't about debating or whatever. Turn off your phone, Rada. I'm so sorry.
And it's the gargoyles theme because I am apparently a giant. Well, I'm not a giant, but I'm a child. How the fuck? I don't even know how to work this fucking thing.
So let's rewind that for a second. So this group of people that I was avoiding last night, the shit hit the activist fan a while back, and I'm not talking about like some sort of debates or whatever, or something like shit got physical out in the streets.
What the fuck?
And
how?
It was a Black Lives Matter protest.
Oh, okay.
When that shit was at its peak in the city like 2 years ago, and like, this girl got, took a hit from somebody, and and I'm there. We're having this meeting. I'm like, yo, whatever. And this woman has had my back in the fort. That's why this shit hurt me. But I'm like, yo, whatever you want to do. If you want to keep it moving, that's fine. If you want to find this person and fuck him up, I got your back. And she said she wanted to move on, but she just refused to let it go, and she brought the entire group down with her. And was just everybody was kind of like walking on glass, trying to, how do we handle this? How do we do this? And I've been in this situation before so many times, and every time, like, most of the time, a couple people that aren't like that, it's usually people of color, will come out, will talk afterwards, be like, what the fuck was that pussy ass shit? And so like my girl happened to be in town, and like they didn't even want her. They're like, no, this is a closed meeting and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I barely see my ex, so let's just have her here. And we walked, and she's a very sensitive person, she's a very godly person, but we're driving afterwards, and she's like, yo, I was fucking appalled by that. Like, these people are weak.
Yeah.
Like, they're weak. These are not the people that need to be at the forefront of, like, any protest movement, Because somebody who's really oppressed and doesn't give a shit about the way they talk, like, all they have is their identity and how they are, and they come to something thinking that they're going to fight the system, and they see these people, like, they turn away instantly. And that's been my whole experience with 10 years of activism. Like, I tell everybody to show up, go to protest, be as active as possible, but it's this fucking thing where the people that are there the most are people that don't have friends anywhere else, and it becomes a clique type of thing. And then they turn it around because we're not really winning a lot of shit, and people eat each other up. So I became a victim of that. And I wrote it when I left the group. I wrote him a letter saying, like, yo, when I grew up, coming up, even in not that long ago, like, I'm like the softest nigga in the group. Like, and now you're looking at me, and this is not the only time this has happened. Like, I'm some sort of like manly savage that's like putting people down because I refuse to end all my sentences like this. Like, fuck you.
Or talk like this.
Yeah.
Like a little bitch.
Like, if you can't handle me, how the fuck you gonna handle, like...
You didn't code switch. That was your problem.
I code switch for years. And then I'm like, well, these people want to really get down with the masses, that you got to code switch and talk in their language, and they just couldn't handle it. They had to analyze every single fucking word, and instead of actually make decisions and go out and do things, talk to other people, you know.
That's weird, man. I don't like that PC shit because it's invading everything, even things like comedy. I did this show. I'm not sure if I spoke about this last time, but I did this show somewhere in fucking Brooklyn, and I told this joke. I forgot how the joke went, but the joke ends in like Push Jungle or something like that, right? And then the fucking host of the show walks up like right after. He's like, "Oh yeah, at first I felt bad about saying your name, but then you came up here and you started saying chauvinistic things." I'm like, I literally my whole set didn't even say anything remotely chauvinistic. Yeah. But because I ended it with like, like, why do girls have, like, I don't understand women are still walking around with push jungles, like, if that's your way of feminism, like, yo, what's wrong with a t-shirt, or like that says, like, a Wonder Woman shirt or something, or that you're a feminist, like, I was like, you don't have to go out of push jungle. And the punchline is like, yeah, I'm gonna hit it, but I'm gonna talk shit about it later, right? That was a joke.
People do talk shit about people they fuck, it's true.
Yeah, and he was so offended, like he had a push jungle. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I'm like, bro, you do comedy. Are you fucking... Yo, it's crazy. There's a lot of, like, emo and sensitive ass, like... Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't think you should fly off the handle, like, and just be offensive for the sake of being offensive. But sometimes you gotta say shit that is, like, comes off as crass, or...
Yeah. I mean, stuff like, I guess people, it's the sort of thing that, like, I guess you have the right to do it, some people can pull it off, some people can't.
They cut.
I can't tell anybody don't do it.
They cut my segment from the Wendy Williams show, man.
They did?
They did. And
did you say Puss Jungle? Is that
I didn't say Puss Jungle, but they asked me this one question about Rob and Black China, which is like, I don't know who these people are, but like I looked them up, and my answer was...
That might be Love and Hip Hop, I might be wrong.
I don't know. She's some kind of fucking salacious whore. And I was just like, listen, I think that it's a weird relationship because his sister is Kim Kardashian, and whoever the fucking surgeon is in Hollywood, he can only make like 3 faces. So like, they literally all look like carbon copies of each other. I'm like, it's weird. It looks like he's banging his sister. Like it's a little incestuous. So that's what I said. And they laughed and they're like, oh, we're gonna... They didn't keep it. They didn't keep it. All they kept was like the lighter stuff. The other kind, they cut my segment completely out. I mean, I'm just happy to be a part of it. But I was like, yo,
does it go online on an online type segment maybe?
You know what? I don't even know.
Find out, make it happen.
I don't even know.
Because like from the little I know about Wendy Williams, like she has,
She puts that segment online, but I think the one she puts it online, but she keeps like the stuff that was on the TV, so it's like a compilation of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like half of those shows anywhere are like, yo, who's gay, who's not gay. So, like, I don't know why your shit would be offensive.
Well, who's gay and who's... Oh, yeah. But, I mean, now everybody is fucking gay, so...
Sure, that's true. So...
It's, like, weird if you're not gay. Right? It's, like, weird.
Yeah. So, happy birthday, but that's why I didn't go to the birthday party last night. I've been on my grind. Actually, I wasn't on my grind. I was on my grind for like 5 straight days. Mm-hmm. And then I just had to close it off with like a 16-hour porn session. Yeah, so I was not in the highest of spirits. That's why when I woke up today, you woke me up, called me, and like, yo, we're doing the podcast today. I'm like, all right, man, I'll see you at 7 o'clock. I was like, it's at 1. And it was like 11 a.m. when you called me. I was like, fuck.
Yo, that is some kind of FAP session, bro. That is some FAP session for you, man. It's crazy, like, I remember when I was a kid, like, oh my god, yo, jerking off was a fucking event for me, man. It was an event, like, yo, like, so I grew up really poor, you already know this, right? So there were 7 of us in one house. 7, all right? 6 of them were girls. So I had to, like, fucking... do like some fucking James Bond shit and crazy scheduling shit just to get around all these people to fucking jerk off, right? So one day everybody's finally out, and I had these porno tapes. I had like
VHS.
Yeah, VHS, man, and they were red. The porno tapes were red. That's how you knew it was a porno.
It was like the black box from like a crashed airplane.
Yes.
I remember those.
So I played, and my favorite was this one called La Putas de Nueva York, starring Charlize Aspen, right? So I must have whacked that shit, you know.
I can tell you remember that without the aid of like free ones or any of like the porn directories you have now with the internet. You remembered this your whole life.
I remembered this because this shit was an event for me. Because like now you can just jerk off on your phone. You know, it's crazy because I read an article, a TED Talk article, where they were talking about porn-induced ED, which is like it's a fucking real thing, right? So what happens is that for human beings, sex isn't just like in your genitals. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's a mental connection, and so what they were finding was that these kids who were like between the ages of 12 and 16 were having erectile dysfunction that was caused by an overconsumption of pornography.
Absolutely. I mean, at least a third to half of all people have an addiction. Mm-hmm. And then if you like the prevalence of social media, and like social media is porn now, like it's inescapable. I mean, like I came up on the age of 56K, so I was in that first generation. But like, you know, I was fucking 11 looking at shit, you know, like the 15 minutes a day, like 6 pictures, because that's how slow it would take the fucking load.
Yeah. Or you fucking like go to like one of those delis and like stare at the fucking porno magazines they had there. Like, I'm gonna remember this. You know what I mean? Like it was different. But now, because it's so readily available to them, they could jerk off like they don't have events like this. I still remember La Putas de Nueva York very well. I remember the scenes. All this shit was a fucking event for me, right? Yeah. But these kids, like, they have, I guess, too much access to it. And what they were saying was that if it actually fucks with their brain's physiology. Yeah. So like there's
the Coolidge effect.
Yeah. So there's like some signal in their brain that's not being sent out. So they won't get an erection, and they were like, you can't even treat it with Viagra because Viagra does something with the circulation, and this is like a mental component.
Yeah. You need to basically stop jerking off for I think it's like 60 days.
No, they said 90.
90. Well, the longer the better, right?
Like, you have to go cold turkey.
The serotonin, or one of those top 3 chemicals that makes the world go round. Like, it basically, your brain is numb to it. I'm not saying I have it, but I am saying that I jerked off for like 16 hours last night. Yeah. So, you just gotta like undo your brain.
That's what they were saying.
Which is awesome that it's possible to do that.
Yeah. But they say that the younger you are, like they were like, so guys in our age group that may happen to, like it's easier for them to bounce back because you know their brains haven't been wired like that for so long. But they're saying that in some of these kids, I mean, like
probably their brain, but not their socialization. Because again, I came onto porn in the age of like tapes and 56K, but we grew up in the time where like the internet was this scary thing that if you like it was like Sandra Bullock in that movie The Net, like they hacked into my car, they hacked into my phone. They hacked into my steak. Yeah. Like it was just like the internet's this horrible thing, it'll ruin your life. So like I do my dirt like anonymously, and like I run into people that are like really like they're younger, but they're not that young. And they think they can like throw a dick pic or something on Twitter, and like tag somebody so they could see it, and they're not gonna share it. Like they actually expect that to happen. Like they don't expect like, you know, to put a naked picture out there or a bikini picture out there and like 10,000 people are fapping to it like immediately, you know.
Yeah, it's
so like, and that amazes me from the era of like, if you let your kid have access to the internet, like 10 sex offenders will materialize out of thin air and like grab them and take them out, like the fucking monkeys in the Wizard of Oz.
Sex offenders are fucking out there, bro. Cause like I was so I like twerk videos, man. Yeah. I really fucking like twerk videos. So I'm always looking up twerk videos on fucking line, and it's crazy because when you play YouTube like twerk videos, it usually goes like in a loop and plays like different.
Of course, that's the way to do it.
So like I follow the Russian twerk teams, and if you don't, you should. It's phenomenal. And there's like Lexi Panettiere or whatever. So I'm like looking at all their videos, and then like a few videos played, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like little fucking girls, not like she's like a teenager, or so like nigga like a child, like 9. You know what I mean? Yo, this is fucking gross, and I take it off. But then like on the side, you see the list. There's like mad like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is like a pedophile's wet. Because even if he was watching it, you couldn't fucking arrest him because it's technically not kiddie porn. Like, that shit is insane, bro. Like I work with like some of my clients are actually like fucking pedophiles, man, and they're like that shit is pervasive, man. I had no idea that like how common that shit is.
And it's a mixed bag, this whole thing, because obviously you're fucking up a whole generation of people's sexuality, but people's sexuality was already fucked up to begin with. So
everything is porn. Like if you go on Instagram, it's just porn. Like I follow girls, even girls I went to college with. They're like, oh, whatever fitness. There was always some shit like that at the end of their fucking name. And it's just like, they're like posting like pictures of themselves flexing or in like bikinis or like, look at my abs while she's holding her tits. I'm like, yo, this is porn. Like, you're kind of a whore. Like, those are the pictures that like 5-10 years ago that you would send to your fucking boyfriend. You're just posting them. Like, oh, I'm showing my physique and my beauty. No, you're kind of just an attention whore, you know?
There's a tweet. I want to put this on. There's so many t-shirts. We should make t-shirts, man.
Yeah, we should.
Because I want to wear a fucking line of shit. But I think there's one tweet. I can't take credit for it. Where it's like the president of 2036 is on Twitter right now talking about eating ass.
That's right.
So I mean, the good thing is, so many people are doing it that eventually, like, the wave is gonna crash through the wall, and like people are gonna be able to run for office, or become CEOs and have like a twerk video in their past, or a dick pic in their past, or whatever, and that's awesome. But like we're in that middle ground right now where like it's like you said, like, you know, somebody could come across like fucking almost kiddie porn on YouTube and get caught and get in trouble for that. It's just like, well, it's not. Whose fault is that, you know?
Well, I mean, I was more concerned for like parents. I'm like, oh, this is really irresponsible parenting. Like,
well, parents don't fucking know about that. Did your parents know about the internet? Mine didn't.
No, but I mean, I'm not a parent, and like the internet, like, to my parents' defense, like the internet was kind of really new when you know, like that shit is really common now. Like most people don't even have cable. Like the internet is everywhere. So I think that, you know, you should really like maybe not let your kid have like a fucking cell phone or whatever. Like they're not up to good shit.
Unless you're the kind of parent that like has those kinds of pictures. I was browsing through some like filthy Instagram groups, because that's what I do. And like there'd be people there like, you know, like in fucking those like positions and stuff, and then like I'd go onto like that person's Instagram, like their personal, and be like, oh, here's my daughter, she's like 19. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's
weird, a brave new world.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It was just.
Yeah. This is, I'm sorry, you just threw me back to like my first twerk party, which is like.
Wait, you went to a twerk party?
Like the only one I went to is like a youngster. It was like my cousin's birthday party.
Oh, okay.
And there's some like Staten Island girls over there, and I hit one of them up on I talked to one of them over Facebook or something recently, and she's like, how's your life going? She's like, oh, my life. And she literally like, my life sucks. Like my ex-husband's an asshole. I have a kid. I don't know what to deal with. Like I hate my job. I'm just like, monogamy and capitalism makes fools of us all. I should have said that from day one when we met as teenagers. You wouldn't have been in this predicament.
I don't know, man. I think a lot of people just get married because they feel like societal pressures too. You know, like I mean, you and I are both in the age where a lot of our friends are getting married.
Dude, you've been saying, oh yeah, married, yeah.
And having kids.
You've been saying that since the last podcast.
Yeah, man.
And like, I'm starting to feel it now.
Feel the itch to get married?
No, well, that too, but more like finding people, and it's like, oh shit, there really isn't anybody. Like when I lived in Buffalo, it was either date hipster chicks, and like I was like not heading in that direction anymore, mostly because they weren't heading in my direction anymore, or like, you know, townies who have kids at like 17, 18, 19. So like, all right, this is just the place that I'm in. Now I'm back in the city where people like are on in the rat race, and even now it's like now that I turned 30, like, oh shit, there's like people are now having kids anyway.
It's really rough, man, because like a lot of chicks, like, so what I find is like a lot of girls either have kids or like are in a rush to like have kids. Like it's hard for me to date a woman who's like near my age or my age already, because like,
I've never really dated somebody my age either.
you know,
It's always been younger or older.
yeah, like it's tough to date when they're your age, especially now. Like they want us to, they're not fucking around, and there's no I don't take issue with that. It's just like I'm not really there yet.
You know what I think it is? Analyzing myself. When you date somebody who's a different age, like and like, you know, I've been with older women that had a kid and a house and a career and all that shit. If you date somebody who's like a really different age, or if you're just, even if you're just seeing them, I don't even know if dating should be a word anymore, but you make a thing out of the age difference, and so you analyze each other from that perspective.
Yeah.
Like, what are our differences? If you date somebody your age, you don't really, I mean, that's a thing that you don't have, and that's a missed opportunity to step back and really analyze who you both are as people in relation to each other. And I think that's where, like, a lot of, like, and I think that may lead to people rushing into things, you know, because there's a lot of different kinds of people out there that want a lot of different kinds of things, and a lot of ways to compromise.
Yeah.
And people try and fit certain molds to every relationship that don't fit every relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, one of the biggest problems between my ex and I was this constant competition. It was like a constant unspoken competition. It was like, well, this chick got engaged, and they've been together X amount of time, or this person this, and you know, like it was almost like trying to keep up with this fucking rat race. I'm like, yo, like, you know,
Oh, the social one?
yeah, and it was just like, I don't know, I've always looked at kids like, I guess eventually I want them, but I've always looked at it like, yo, having children isn't a right, you know what I mean? It's not, it's like, it's not a right. It's like a privilege, you know what I mean? Like, yo, not everyone should fucking have children. You know what I mean? And I don't, like, sometimes I'll talk to like an uncle or something who's like and it's always the uncle who was like a shit dad, who's like, oh, when are you gonna have kids? Well, fuck you, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna run out and not raise them. You make it so easy because you don't raise your kids, you know? Like, but I actually would stick around, and I'm like, I'm in a really selfish place in my life, and I'm happy with that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if I had a kid, yo, my life is ridiculous. I got home like at 4
I could totally see you like if you had a kid being in their life a lot, you'd complain the shit out of it about the things it wouldn't let you do. You definitely would be in that kid's life.
Yeah, I'd be in the kid's life, but that's why I don't have kids.
Yeah.
You know, like when I date girls and they're like, oh my God, you're so great. Why don't you have kids? I'm like, because I fucking wear condoms and my pull-out game is strong. Like, what do you mean, why don't I have kids?
I don't know.
You don't know science, bitch? Like, it's ridiculous.
Why don't I have kids? Well, how would I do this podcast then?
I mean, seriously, like, if even something as simple as doing a little podcast, like, would be, like, I have 3 fish. You've seen them. I have 3 fish, right? And, yo, I'm telling you, sometimes I'm so hungover, I'm like, oh, and it's time to feed them. Like, I know the time. Like, and they're smart, so they're not goldfish, they're cichlids, right? So they, like, kick up the water, and they start fighting, like, at, like, around 12 if they haven't been fed. So I'm like, oh, I have to get up and fucking throw these flakes. I couldn't, you know, if they died, no one would give a shit. You know, I couldn't imagine a kid.
If they made a twerking video, no one would give a shit.
Yeah, actually, that'd be very impressive. I might be a millionaire if my fish did twerking videos, but, you know, it's crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine having to keep someone alive who, like, the government knows about and has a record of them. Like, you know, you can't just let them die. I'm responsible for you. I remember my ex had a dog, and like sometimes he'd stay at my house, and there was times I'm like, yo, I fucking hate this dog. I hate him.
Oh, I hate a lot of dogs.
Like, you need to be walked 3 times a day. Who the fuck do you think you are? Get a job, you pussy. God, I hate this shit. I couldn't.
I think there are. Well, no, I'm just saying this because I've never been around like a young kid. So I was gonna say there are certain people that I judge more for having dogs than I do for them having kids.
Yeah, like people who like refer to their dog as like a family.
Well, there are some dogs that just yap more than like a crying.
Like yesterday, man, baby. This lady walked into the laundromat with this tiny little dog, and the dog barked. Yo, he sounded like a beast. He was like this tiny little thing. Mm-hmm. He tried to like snip at me. I'm like, yo, I am so much bigger than you. I will like murder.
You can like cook and eat one of those.
Yeah,
things.
like killing you would be so easy. Like, you're so. I can tell you've never been hit. You fucking retard dog. Like. And the lady's like, I'm sorry, he's just so jealous. I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here, you stupid dog. I fucking hate dogs. I hate cats too. Well, I don't really hate animals. That's like a strong word. I do hate pugs and bulldogs. I hate those dogs. I really,
Wait, why those?
I actually hate them. Because they're fucking ugly and they're fat. They're ugly and they're fat. Like, they have a fucked up face. And everyone thinks that they're so cute. They're not cute. They're ridiculous. And you know they have so many problems? They have, like, mobility issues and
The
shit.
French bulldogs have a lot of problems. That was
God.
a cover story in The Voice a few months ago.
Why would you buy that fucking thing?
Well, I don't know. I can deal with a pug. I don't know about some of
I
these other
hate
ones.
pugs. I hate them. They look like roaches with, like, legs.
Roaches do have legs, Rodimus.
I mean, well, like, I don't know. You know what I mean.
Dog legs?
Yeah, they're like fucking roaches that bark. Fuck that dog.
Yeah.
I'm still hungover from yesterday.
Son, I'm like begging to go home and like erase all my porn and just focus on this fucking editing project
Wait,
that I
you
have.
download porn?
I acquire it from various sources from around the world, from around Westeros.
Westeros.
And including porn from Westeros, because that's really what Game of Thrones is porn.
I mean, I can't, like, I'm used to watching too many, like, you know, ass eating videos to, like, jerk off to, like, 10 seconds of, like, fucking Xerxes boobs or whatever.
Xerxes?
Cersei, yeah, Cersei's boobs.
Xerxes was
Yeah,
a big ass dude
300.
from 300, yeah.
Yeah. Dude is a weirdo.
No, but it is porn just because of the context. Like, I guess I'm a psychological porn guy, so like watching that and like violence is also a form of porn. I think I grew up fucked up. Like I would just not watch that sort of shit with other people, but I would love it on my own.
I love horror movies.
Yeah.
And I live alone in my fucking cavernous fucking apartment. So like, yo, I'm a grown man. I'm ashamed to say this, but like I remember one night some shit fell in the kitchen, and I heard it, and I'm like, I woke up I'm like, oh my god, it's the Babadook. I know it's the fucking Babadook.
It's the what?
It's the Babadook. You ever seen that movie, Babadook?
No.
It's like about a monster. You should watch it. It's a pretty good horror movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I watch so many horror movies. I've seen like almost all the horror movies on Netflix and Hulu, and a lot of them are terrible, but I love them.
Yeah, but it's a weird thing. It's horror.
I don't like slasher films. Horror I do like slasher. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see people get stabbed and like fucking.
What kind of horror then? Like
spiritual shit.
Spiritual.
Like, oh, there's a demon.
But not like monsters or aliens, right?
Monster movies are cool too. Like I like weird monster movies. I like weird monster documentaries. First of all, I love Illuminati videos. So sometimes to scare myself, I like watch some weird shit on the Illuminati. Like, is the Earth flat? Are they lying to you?
You want to hear some real horror shit? Watch the documentaries about Jim Jones and the poison Kool-Aid from Jonesboro.
Yeah.
That was one of the few things that really freaked me out. Listening to is the audio tape. It's only on audio of when everyone was actually like poisoning themselves. They have that on tape.
Yeah,
That's
I've heard that. Yeah. And there's this black lady who gets up. She's like, you know, I'm concerned about the children.
You deduced that she was black from the audio.
There's audio and there's video, and you can tell that she's black. Yeah, I can tell she's black from the audio. What, like, I don't fucking live in New York. I don't know what black people sound like. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That probably was not PC.
Definitely not.
That one comment, you racist. I love those internet trolls. Sometimes I go on the internet.
We're gonna have so many.
Oh man, I love that shit. I love reading negative comments. They're so funny because it's always like, oh my god, I really like this song. Fucking Jews, and then it's just like at the bottom, it just goes, Muslims are the worst. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, this is a Rick Roll video. Why are we talking about Muslims and Jews? I don't get it.
Dude, I think the worst one was, and I Buffalo's really bad because up there you have white people that are just entitled to their racism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have to hide it all. I was watching a review of The Matrix Reloaded. Not a review, but like the forum, like the comments underneath the review about The Matrix Reloaded, and someone was like, "Yeah, man, this movie was fucking awesome. Why they have to have so many of the, the more athletic race in this? Like, why?" And I'm reading this like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Athletic.
He was complaining that there were like a bunch of black people in like secondary roles. Like, not even starring in the film, but like Jada Pinkett and...
Listen, the role was originally given to Will Smith. He turned it down.
Yeah.
Like, that's who Neo was supposed to be. So whoever wrote that is a fucking retard. And Morpheus is like, not that. That's a huge role in the movie.
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking retard. People just like to comment about, yo, World Star videos are the best. If you, like in the bottom, like it's always like the first comment will always be something regarding the video, and literally, always the second comment, nigger. Doesn't matter what.
People come to World Star just to post that.
Yeah.
That's an invasion.
Or people
of
create
space,
accounts.
Man.
People create like accounts that are like offensive, and there's like the World Star forums are fucking crazy.
See, that's weird because you don't see for example, people of color make up accounts and go on Stormfront, which is a neo-Nazi website, and then troll them. But white people come on, or maybe they're not white, maybe they're Mexican or something. I don't know, but they're probably white.
Listen,
go on World Star just to fucking.
I'm an original troller. My sister was too. My older sister.
Yeah.
Yo, we used to troll. Like this was back in the day of like AOL.
Yeah.
So we used to go like on forums and just like write horrible shit to people and then sign off. But we were like 12, and my sister was the worst. She used to fucking she used to go on like gay sites.
Yeah.
Like the gay ones would be like, you're all a bunch of sinners, and then like log off. And she told me about this like years later, like we were hanging out, and she's like, yeah, I used to do that. Like,
did she believe in it though, or did she like?
She didn't. My sister's like so fucking progressive and feminist, but she was like a little like teenagers are twats.
Yeah.
Like they're very.
So basically, she was the original feminist that many feminists today would not like.
Yeah, and unlike a lot of those other feminists, my sister will rock you. Like,
I think most do. Again, that's why I called them at the beginning of the segment feminazis, which is an ugly word because it comes from like the right to try and shit on people. But yeah, like there are people that like become a stereotype of themselves and they're useless. Your sister can rock somebody.
Yeah, I mean she won't. Nah, she fucking will. She would rock.
Have you seen her?
Do it to someone?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like she has a short fuse. She's like really like quiet and she's funny and she's cool, but she has like a short fuse. So like actually all my sisters do. It's ridiculous. But like I saw her one time go off the hand, like fly off the handle on some chick, and I literally had to intervene. I was like, yo, what the fuck? This bitch went to Cornell, my man. This is not like some like hood bitch. Like, and she was smart too. She went like a full ride to Cornell. So like,
yeah.
And I'm like, yo, like, but this bitch will fucking smack the shit out of you. So.
Right.
But she doesn't identify with a lot of those like, feminists. Like she takes some of their ideals. Like she's really feminist. Like her last name now is Harris, right? Because she got married to her husband, and she was like, listen. Like, I'm not taking your last name. I want you to take mine. He's like, well, I'm not doing that. She's like, all right, let's compromise. Let's just join our names. And he was up against the fence about it. But she was like, listen, you're black. You know what I mean? She's like, and I'm Hispanic. You know, whatever. Like, I'm a conglomerate of, like, a bunch of different races. Like, because of slavery, you know. Your name was given to you by, like, some slave master down so many years. Like, let's make our own shit. And he was like, yo, that's kind of dope.
That is
so
dope.
Now... There's Cynthia and Clemoy Harris. And when I first heard
just
that...
Tejada and Harris?
Yeah, Tejada and Harris. To Harris.
Nice.
So, I got to marry them.
What do you mean you got to marry them?
Like, when they got married, I was the one who administered the wedding.
You're asking me?
I don't know if that's the word you'd use, but...
You were the officiant?
Yes, I officiated the wedding.
Nice. See, we learn something new every day.
Yeah, so I officiate weddings for the millions of you out there watching. Let me know. I'll come out and I'll fish. You gotta pay for it though. Like,
hell yeah.
You gotta pay top dollar.
Speaking of which, let's get into plugs.
Let's get into plugs. I'm running an open mic on Thursday, May 12th, which is my birthday. So I'm running an open mic at Think Coffee on Bleecker Street. It's 1 Bleecker Street. Come through. It's gonna be dope. The show starts at 7. If you want to be a part of it, just come, sign up. I'll give you 5 minutes. You know, it'll be cool. You can also follow me on social media, BadmanRad for my Instagram. Follow me on Snapchat. My Snapchat handle is Radamus is cool. That's RADHAMESISCOOL. Rodimus is cool, but like I recently changed it to Badman Rad. I'm not sure if you can find it under that name though. Twitter is also Badman Rad, so follow me. My Twitter's fucking hilarious. I do have shows coming up, but like I get booked so randomly that like if you follow my Twitter and all that stuff, I'll tell you where I'll be at. So.
For sure. And I'm Sergio Tupac Usurin. You can find me on Twitter at People's History, or my Instagram is Native NY Video, which is also my Gmail. If you want to book me to film or photograph your event, just like we're doing to this podcast and other things that we got going on. So
dope.
I got a new reality series in the works, a web series called Project Formation, where this awesome client of mine that's about losing weight. Especially in the Bed-Stuy community or the area around Prospect Park. So that's gonna be a fun reality show. I'm editing that now, and it's like my favorite project that I've done so far.
Awesome.
Yeah. So word up.
Pretty awesome.
See you next time, guys.
Yeah. Stay up, guys.